city. I put the spotlight on your city. See the superstar. Hollywood to Hollywood. Girl, you look good. Yeah, they hollering, baby. I keep modeling, baby. ATLD. I put the spotlight on your city. Carolina, Philly. I put the spotlight on your city.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spotlight over the city. We are back. As you can see, it's a little different show today. Hands up, don't shoot. I can't breathe. This is a new movement, new day. I'm your host, Stan Long, along with my super duper co-host, Mrs. Robin Bryant.
Hey.
Robin. We got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about.
And it's serious tonight.
This is a serious show, you guys. Of course, you already know what's going on around the world, around the country. It's a really serious issue, but it's a really good time. And I'm thanking God for the people who are coming out, our white brothers and sisters, our Asian brothers and sisters, our Latino brothers and sisters. Everybody of all races, color, and creed are coming out and supporting this movement. And yes, it is a movement, and this is the beginning. This is not the end of the movement. And so I want you guys to be proud of yourselves, because I see my white brothers and sisters laying down in the malls and in the street saying Black Lives Matter, Asians, this and that. That is how serious and critical this issue is. So this is how I decided to play my part, along with going out in the community, which we will be doing, and spotlighting in the community. Right, Miss Robin?
Yep.
So you gonna go with me?
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of things, Atlantic Station and different places around here in Atlanta, but they have been everywhere, downtown.
Everywhere. And it's been heavy in every city, and thank God for that. My condolences again to all of the families, and we're going to talk about a lot of the families from Emmett Till all the way back, and then bring it all the way back up, because this is not a new problem. This is just a problem that's come on the radar, so to speak. This has been happening across the country to our children and even adults for years and years, all the way back to slavery days. And so I didn't want to make it a race issue, because it's really a people issue. It's an injustice issue, and that's why you see whites and blacks side by side saying Black Lives Matter, and all of our lives matter, but definitely in this case, this is not what we call justice. So we're going to get us some justice. Russell Simmons was on earlier, and he was saying some powerful things about the movement, and on Wednesday, you guys, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep talking about it from this day forward. They're submitting some list of demands, I don't know to who, but they're saying if these list of demands are not met, and this is Russell Simmons speaking, that it's going to be a different America, which it has to be, because it can't be the same America.
Can't stay the same.
Yeah, we can't allow our
children. I'm glad to see
children.
Russell Simmons and all of those folks that have power get involved, really. So.
Exactly. So Nas and all you conscious rappers, and even the unconscious rappers and singers and entertainers and athletes, you know, it kind of made me mad a little bit when I saw LeBron come out, which was good. I like that part. But I'm saying, why is the rest of the team not showing solidarity, or whoever feels that way? Don't just let it be a superstar player. Support that whole thing, that whole situation. We need everybody to be vigilant and go out.
Woke a lot of that up.
Magic, you say Magic Johnson did?
Yeah, Magic Johnson said something. That's when your boy, the other cat, Rose in Chicago.
Derrick Rose.
He came after Magic said. Magic was like, y'all players need to say something. That's when they all start coming out.
Which is good. I guess they gave them leeway or sanctioned them. You know, but, you know, we have to stop being afraid of getting fired from your little job. You know you a valuable person, and you make millions of dollars, not just for yourself, but for the team owners and all of the industry. So you're not going to just get fired for standing up. And sometimes you just have to take that chance and just, you know, like they say, if you don't have something that you're willing to die for, then are you really alive? You know, so we have to get that serious in order to get change, because if Rosa Parks and all these people didn't stand up and take the initiative to say, no, we're not going to do this anymore, then maybe you would be forced to go to the back of the bus. Maybe you wouldn't have rights to vote for. Maybe you wouldn't have a lot of liberties that we have today, and they were taken by force. A lot of things happened. Blood was shed in America for our rights. And so now is not the time to cower out and roll up and worry about if you're going to get picked up on your new show or this or that. We taking a chance. I mean, this is what it is. It's not even a chance for me. So anyway, before we get into it, I guess we got a little sports that we're going to discuss, and we're not going to get, you know, much into other things today, because we got kind of a lot of things to cover about this. But my man Ray Rice on a
You
lighter
are
note.
so pressed to talk about Ray Rice.
I am pressed to talk about Ray
Every
Rice.
week we
I have
talk
talked about
Ray
him
Rice.
every week. But this week I'm talking about Ray Rice because the verdict that we were waiting on did come down, and
That you were waiting on.
Yeah, a lot of people though was interested in this verdict because of what the media had did once again to try to railroad this young man and get him basically not really banned from the league, but he would have been definitely suspended indefinitely, and that would have cost him a lot of money and maybe his career. But guess what? He
Probably
played
so.
for the Denver Broncos, and he's
Yeah,
gonna mess
now-
around and might get him a ring straight out the cut.
Why
Which he
you think
didn't get.
Denver is gonna?
Denver looking
Go all the
pretty
way.
strong. I mean, they look really strong. It's a strong possibility, and he could be an asset that they needed, that extra back to open up that running game. I mean, that passing game.
Guess we'll see.
So congratulations to him.
And it looks like
And-
he's going to be starting soon as
Soon.
the contract. Yeah.
He's going to be. They're working on it now, and they're going to get him acclimated ASAP. And they should have done that. And shame on you, Baltimore Ravens, for being such a chump and not accepting responsibility.
That's your team too.
Yeah, I love him, but I don't like the move. I'm a realist. And if my team acting like a sucker, then I'm going to say shame on you suckers for not letting that man come back in the league and reinstating his money and getting him back right. If his wife agreed with the situation and everybody
Just
else...
because
is
she agreed
forgiving
with
her-
it don't make it right.
And I'm not saying it was right,
Oh,
though.
okay.
That's
'Cause
the
you
one
acting
thing I
like
will
it's
say.
all right because she went
Not
along
at
with
all.
it.
I'm not even going to make no excuses for that young man. Whatever happened, he shouldn't have beat her down, punched her, whatever he did. But that did happen, and unfortunately, she forgave him. He forgave himself.
But you feel like he still deserves to have a career.
I definitely, I believe in whatever punishment they initially gave this young man is what should have been. So if it was 6 months, a year, indefinite suspension, whatever, if that was the initial, then okay, cool. But if you're going to say, yeah, man, you're going to have 2-game suspension, and then when I come back and it come on TMZ, I only like mentioning y'all after that Mary Bird
Right,
situation either,
right.
though. I'm not rocking with TMZ. That's it for y'all. But anyway, when they bought it out, then all of a sudden, all the other little, whatever you might want to call them, jump on the bandwagon, and then they took this man's livelihood for a minute.
So you said, but I think you mentioned earlier that they've given him his money back or some of his money back.
I'm thinking, I don't know exactly how the deal worked, but it was like $30 million on the table at that time. So I'm just assuming, I don't want to state a wrong fact. I'm just assuming that once he got reinstated, so was his financial situation reinstated. I'm pretty sure it was. But he's at the Broncos now. Congratulations to Ray Rice and his family. And
So he'll be making some money.
he'll be making definitely some money. He'll be making some money, and he'll be back in the league, and hopefully he'll make his mark back in the league and prove them wrong, which I like. I like the underdog. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So, moving on. What you got for me?
Well, I think we got a video. We about to start talking about this
Yeah.
situation.
So, I guess before we go on, I want to say, this is a really big deal for me. As you can see, I'm kind of passionate about it because I believe in lending a voice to situations and justice and all this. So, I think about all the things that we went through, in the past, and I watched my grandmother and them struggle through the hardships of racism, which is really just a trick of the enemy. The devil has created racism as a big divide between everybody, which is a trick of the devil. That's a trick. A spirit is what's evil, not the person. You have black devils, you have Asian devils, you have white devils, you have it's a spirit in the person. It doesn't mean that particular whole race is evil. So if a black man go out and he take a machine gun and start spraying up the community because he's not quite stable in his mind, it doesn't mean that every black man is a murderer or he's the devil. No different than a white man. It's just that we've unfortunately been oppressed by a white race for so long that it seemed to be that they were the only oppressors, and then other races have pretty much snuck in and had some play in it. And it's not just black people, that's being oppressed. So you guys get in the chat room because we got a lot to talk about. We're going to go to this video, and it's basically Martin Luther King, and they're showing some of the things they went through in his era, which reminds me of this day, which is sad because this is 2014, and that was around 65 that this video was shot. So we're talking about a long gap in time, and here we are with a African-American, black, Hebrew, whatever you call him, president, and this is what we're facing on television in the face
What
of
you
it all.
say? What kind of president we got?
Well, with African American,
What did you say?
black, Hebrew, whatever you want to call them, Israelite. whatever you want to call them.
We're not even gonna start there. Y'all
Yeah.
go ahead and get
So
in the
what-
chat room. I see Westside Shorty. She's in there. All
What's
right.
going on, Westside Shorty?
Westside Shorty.
Oh, that's what it do. I ain't mad. As long as you in that chat room, Westside Shorty, we're gonna talk about it. Voice yourself. Say what you feel. So we're gonna go to the clip on Martin Luther King. Let him express himself a little bit, so you can get a little glimpse of where we came from in this, even before him, of course. But you'll see where we headed, and hopefully we can keep this movement up and nobody quits on us. So let's go to the video. Big Al in the studio. You got us, Al?
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back.
America is essentially a dream. It is a dream of a land where men of all races, of all nationalities, and of all creeds can live together as brothers. The substance of the dream is expressed in these profound words. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
In 1929, less than a lifetime after the end of slavery, Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta. By the age of 14, he had moved quickly through school, skipping both the 9th and 12th grades, and entered Morehouse College, an all-black institution, at the age of 15. Before he graduated from college, he had already chosen his life's work and was ordained a minister when he was just 18. King began graduate studies in theology, first at Crozier Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, then at Boston University. While in Boston, he met Coretta Scott, a music student and, like King, a Southerner. They were married in 1953. While he was in school, Martin Luther King studied the work of Mahatma Gandhi, who was leading India's fight for freedom from Great Britain. Gandhi knew that armed insurrection would justify British attack. His solution was nonviolent passive resistance, in which vast numbers of Indians boycotted British goods and disobeyed what they felt were unjust laws. Relentless, nonviolent mass confrontation eventually forced the British to abandon their claim to India. Martin Luther King saw that Gandhi's nonviolent approach to the struggle for freedom in India could work in the struggle for equal rights in America. The year was 1955. King's first job as a minister was at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama, just across the street from the Alabama State Capitol. Black bus riders who paid the same fare as whites were required by law to give up their seats to white riders and move to the back of the bus as the whites boarded. When all seats had been taken away by whites, the black riders had to stand. When a black woman named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, she was arrested.
We, the Negro citizens of Montgomery, have been engaged in a nonviolent protest against injustices and indignities experienced on city buses.
On Monday, December 5th, 1955, there were no black passengers on the buses of Montgomery. That night, a committee was formed to carry on the momentum of the one-day boycott. Martin Luther King was elected its president.
We go back to the buses, let us be loving enough to turn an enemy into a friend.
At the age of 26, in his first action as leader, King gave an electrifying speech calling for an active refusal to cooperate with what he deemed an evil system.
We will be able to emerge from the bleak and desolate midnight of man's inhumanity to man to the bright and glittering daybreak of freedom and justice.
For Dr. King, the key to victory would be in never resorting to violence. The white citizens of Montgomery, however, had a different agenda.
All public carriers operating in Alabama are hereby directed to strictly adhere to all present existing segregation laws in our state or suffer the consequences.
More and more blacks began carpooling to ensure the bus boycott would succeed.
We, the Negro citizens of Montgomery, Alabama, do now and will continue to carry on our mass protest. It is trite but urgently true that if America is to remain a first-class nation, she can no longer have second-class citizens.
I mean, every one of you, get off of here. You do, boy, get off of here. Get off of here.
Death threats against King came almost daily.
You've had some rather personal and trying experiences yourself. Are you afraid?
No, I'm not. My attitude is that this is a great cause, it is a great issue that we are confronted with, and that the consequences from my personal life are not particularly important. It is a triumph of a cause that I'm concerned about.
In early 1956, Dr. King was arrested for the first time.
Ultimately, along the way of life, an individual must stand up and be counted and be willing to face the consequences, whatever they are. And if he is filled with fear, he cannot do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Spotlight over the city. That was just a little clip from the King days. I wanted you to see just how serious. He made a statement that was so serious to me, and I just wanted everybody to understand. Look how long ago that was, and that's when the dogs would come out and the hoses was being sicked on us, and even then, whites and all these different races was still out there. Not all, but it was a lot of them right out there. And he said something very important. He said that you can't have fear and make change. Like, you have to not be afraid of any consequences, because there's going to be some consequences. Some people might lose their lives for change. Some people may be arrested for change. Even Jesus was arrested to make a change. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
What you think about that?
Well, it's a serious situation. Y'all get in the chat room. Let me see what's going on.
So what's going on in the chat room, y'all? Y'all get in there, express your thoughts. Let me know, what your opinions are on the situation. What would you do to bring about change if you had an idea to make change? Tell me what your thoughts are.
Ms. Moore said, very powerful video. Reminds us that if we want to make change while protesting, everyone must participate.
And that's our correspondent, Ms. Moore, up in Charlotte. Shout out to her. She had a little situation. She been down for the count for a minute with her leg issue, so hope she gets better soon. Shout out to you, Carla Moore. And also shout out to Lyric in the DMV, representing very well. She's been doing a whole lot of work up in the DMV. Proud of her for that. The foundation is doing well as well. Shout out to Heart of Stone Foundation, which is also Lyric. And we love it. But back to the issue.
We had another comment. And
I'm sorry.
That video brought back many memories. The no violent protest worked then and will work now. There is power in numbers. And there
Very
is.
true.
And that's what you're saying.
Very true. That's what I'm saying. We don't have to bring on violence, but what you do have to do is not be afraid of any confrontation that you may face, because that will deter the movement. You have to go forward no matter what the consequences are, and you have to stand in unity. And that's what I'm liking about what I'm seeing. We're being unified.
Yeah, because it's in every major city.
It's in every major city, and I want it to continue in every major city. And I'm going to do my best to get some footage for you guys live from Atlanta for next week, because I'm going to try to cover a lot of different days on my own if I can't get my co-host to show up with I don't
know why you don't think I would show up, but...
Well, yeah, so we go down there and you can look cute and do the interview, and I can hold the camera and we can do what we do.
What we do.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to spotlight that issue and stay on this issue. We're not going to just talk about it in one show. We're going to keep bringing the news to you. How many of you guys know the name of the young man that was with Michael Brown? That's an issue that has bothered me for some time. I don't think many people know, but if you can get in the chat room, tell me if you even know this gentleman before we announce him. Now, this is the young man that was with Michael Brown walking across the street, coming from the store where he allegedly stole some cigars or whatever that case was, which the police wasn't even on a call for. But this young man has been silent for some reason. He did an interview on MSNBC, which I do have the clip for. But his name is Dorian Johnson. And Dorian Johnson told his whole story not only to the DA, the prosecutors, or whoever. He gave his testimony to the grand jury, along with tons of other witnesses that was in the neighborhood. And his testimony was that this young officer, Wilson, came through the street and told them to get the F out of the street. And then they shouted out a slurs back at him in turn, which would happen. And most of you know that are black, and the ones who not, let me inform you that black people don't just run up to police cars and try to punch them. Like, that's just not what we do. I'm just being honest with you. That's ignorant to even think that that's slow, that's what would happen. So now this officer grabbed him when he was close to the vehicle and tried to pull him to him, is what the young man said. And they tussled and Mike broke away. And that's when he shot Mike right at the car at that time while he was breaking away. And Mike fled, and he got out the car and started shooting again. And then Mike did this. It's like would be a normal reaction when them bullets start coming, and you don't know if it's going to tap their head. So you say, all right, you got me. And he turns around and faces a bunch of gunfire and gets shot in the head as well. And he lays in the street for 4+ hours, which is totally ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
And so if you think about these issues, and also the young man that got choked out in that situation on TV and fell to his death on national television, which is a reason in itself for everybody in the world to be totally upset. America should be ashamed of themselves to not come up with an indictment when, truth be told, I've been indicted as a youth for something much more minor than shooting and any of that kind of buffoonery. And so if he was a citizen, of course, he would have been arrested, or not, because the young gentleman, Trayvon Martin situation, wasn't originally indicted. He was let go, and he's a citizen, and he had a firearm which he shouldn't have had. And this goes back and back and back.
This goes way, way back to Emmett Till.
Emmett Till. That exactly
was in the
right.
50s.
That's how long ago it was?
I think it was 55.
Wow. And so we can go back, and we can go much further than Emmett Till, and we can talk about the thousands of murders that's happening around America with little to no indictments for years and years. I mean, this has been under the radar. And so I think they've gotten so comfortable that police can't afford to be policing themselves. We can't let the police themselves.
Well, what do you think about the idea of them having cameras on them? I think, I believe that our president already got the funding or whatever approved to do that. What do you think about that idea?
I think it's a waste of money.
I kind of think it is
it's a big waste of money because we just witnessed. Okay, we haven't even mentioned the young man that was at the Shell gas station, and he got out the car, and the white police officer walked up and was like, "Hands up! Let me see your ID." Well, he went to reach in the car of his little white Chevy or whatever it was. You remember that, Al? And the police started shooting him in daylight at the gas station with a dash cam, showing him going pow pow. And the dude was like, "Why you shoot me?" And he fell in the ground and was like, "I can't feel my leg. Why did you shoot me? I was getting my ID." Now this was like 3 months ago. So I can go on and on and on. So your camera will do what? We just watched this young man die and get strangled, and somebody put his knee in their head
video
and do these things, and he's doing this again. And then he's saying, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." And that's all he's wasting his energy on, because evidently he don't have that much energy to say a lot of stuff like "get the hell off of me" and this and that. And he's not resisting because he's a big boy.
Right.
And so if he was resisted, the little guy that choked him probably would have been in that position, choked.
Correct.
And so because he was doing this and surrendering, he felt he was going to be safe. Well, then you watch him die because EMS shows up and looks.
What is this? That wasn't a chokehold. Foolishness that came out after that.
Well, it is if you choke somebody else that way.
No. I'm saying the people in charge were running around talking about, well, technically it wasn't a chokehold.
Well, the autopsy said that he died of strangulation.
No, I'm talking about the stupid people who run around talking about is now the choke. In other words, the people who were defending the officer came back and said, well, technically, because chokeholds are illegal.
Right.
Chokeholds,
especially the one they use.
Yeah, so
it's been barred basically from.
Yeah, but their whole thing was.
But they're saying that it wasn't because I guess they're not trying to get in trouble. So I don't know what the technical chokehold is, but yeah.
Right, because that was an official. You can't choke me worse than that, like, because he died. So like if you choke me to death, I mean, like what other chokehold is what is?
And then what they said was they blamed it on the fact that he had asthma and all this other kind of stuff. They were saying that that's why he died. Now the coroner said he died from asphyxiation. He was choked to death.
He was choked to death.
Okay, but the people outside of that, cops, all the other kind of stuff, they're saying, well, no, it wasn't an official chokehold. He wasn't officially choked to death because we didn't use the quote-unquote chokehold.
Because if they got one outside of this one, it's probably going to break every bone in your body and kill the hell out of you. Like, you're not going to make it. This is ridiculous. So this is what I'm saying. We are not going to let America, you have to make a decision. Like, this is not going to happen. We're not going to just lay down and let you kill our children in the street. That day is over. Like, that's a wrap. So are we going to get violent? I don't know how far this has to go, but we won't allow you to just murder the children in the street. And I don't think that's a race issue. That's just a just issue. Like, I don't think no one's child should be murdered by anybody in the street. And we also are going to get upset more about our own murdering of each other in the street, because we have to make sure that we don't be the perpetrators of this crime as well. And so that's a whole nother show.
Viewers said, Ann said, it is critical that policemen wear a camera, but until policemen realize that they will be penalized for their actions, nothing will happen.
Well, that's exactly right. What you think about that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you keep showing them that they can get off and they won't, no indictment, then it doesn't matter.
Well, it's like Al said, like you said, Al, if the DA and the police are in the same bed, so then why in the hell do you think that the DA is going to go against the police officer and say, you were wrong, we're going to arrest you and indict you? No, first of all, it's probably friends. You're in the same circle. You deal with them in court all the time. You know his kids and his family and his personal, and you're not going to send Mr. Wilson or any of them to prison. But I couldn't do anything close to that to any citizen in America without not only getting indicted, I probably would be on a federal hold or a state hold, no bond,
same day,
and I would go to prison immediately, and I would never see the light of day again because I murdered someone.
That's two types of justice right there.
So then you have injustice and you have justice, and that's a big injustice, and that's why we're going to ride until the wheels fall off for this situation.
I really just hope that this time, because it's happened with Sean Bell, it's happened with, so many people. We can name so many people. The little 12-year-old, wasn't he 12, 11 years old?
Yeah.
Rodney King, Trayvon, everybody. And we have to keep the movement going, though. We do it.
That's right.
And then it stops.
And that's what I don't want. And so I'm going to be as active as I can. I'm going to get in the community. If I have to have the bullhorn, that's what it is. I'm going to speak to some young cats, old cats, whoever I have to talk to. Keep it consistent. Be present on this show. Use all the time I can to talk about these issues and not a bunch of buffoonery. This is necessary to me and a lot of people in the world at this point. Not just America. The world is watching America.
Oh, yeah. To see how we're going to handle this.
To see how they're going to handle it. And they have mishandled it still in the presence of... So picture if we didn't have... Now, they talk about these cameras. You spending, what, $30 million? Mm-hmm. $30 million on some cameras that people have these.
Every day.
And they taking videos and pictures all over the world and putting it on YouTube and showing this massacre that's going on around the world, and y'all not doing a damn thing. And so the cameras are going to do what besides waste money where we can put it tactical? I'm going to tell you what I'm loving. The strategic movement. The die-ins have went from the street to blocking banks, blocking mall entrances, blocking, and then
in New York, I think they're in the train station, Union Station.
That's
all
right.
That.
In DC as well.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, they did a die-in yesterday. Shout out to everybody who participated in that, and please tell your family, friends, come out the next time even stronger. They were in Lenox Mall, and they did a die-in in the entranceway, and then they walked the mall, and they caused a lot of situation there. Good. Traffic's being blocked up. The attention is what we're saying. We're not going to go away until you do right by us. And we mean everybody.
Well, now it's happening back to back to back. So hopefully it'll keep going on until we have people like Russell Simmons and all of them giving demands. I don't know who they're giving the demands to.
And they demand hard.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I was really impressed, Russell. Shout out to Russell Simmons. Russell was strong today. He was not... It was what he said was basically, America, by Wednesday, if these listed demands are present and nothing is a result of it, which they're asking for indictments. Mm-hmm. and they're demanding. We're not asking anymore. We've been asking for a while, and it doesn't work well.
Right.
So now we have a list of demands, and that's what we're saying. We have a list of demands. In America, trust me, it's not going to be pretty if those list of demands are not met. And this is not a threatened issue. This is just reality. And it's not a black community going to uprise. No, we as a nation of people, a good against evil situation has arose.
But Mr. C said, I think the body cameras, along with changes in the police training and regulations, will help change the culture of the police and the community. And that definitely have to start with the training.
It has to start with the training as well as the screening, because you have a mentality. Some of these people, almost Ku Klux Klansmen, at
Their
best.
mentality from the beginning.
And they're coming in with this badge and gun mentality, like this is my opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so they taking their opportunity. And so we have to be mindful. We can't keep on asking people who need police to be out police. Like, they need policing. So now...
Well, that's the problem. I mean, and the thing is that the DA, if the DAs are not going to do it, then, I mean, in terms of what President Obama can do, I think that there has to be, they have to, on the federal level, they have to hand down some sort of federal regulations in order to deal with local, because again, it's a local problem.
Yes, it's a local.
It's a local problem. But
yeah.
the thing is, it's not like the federal government has not dealt with local problems before, you know. And you just deal with it that way. How do you deal with it? Because there's a lot of federal financing that go to local governments, and a lot of times the way they can keep these local governments under control is through that money.
Uh-huh.
You want this money,
right?
Y'all act like you got some sense,
right? Well, they did that in D.C.
You know, that's
they
what I'm saying. And so the thing is that they've get, you know, in terms of what needs to be done from a federal, because that's really where it's going to have to come from, because you've got all of these pockets of police forces. How are you going to deal with them individually? I mean, we'll be taking and running around doing protests, you know, in every corner of the country and never get anything done. The federal government's going to have to pass down some rules and regulations to these local police forces, saying, look, these things you can't do. Chokeholds are illegal. They're not just, don't make them just illegal in New York. Make it illegal nationwide.
Across the board, right.
Well, it's beyond that, because, like, if your training is to have an unarmed man do this, and you can put a bullet in my forehead, and you can empty all your shells in my chest and abdomen, and don't get an indictment, then what I'm saying is, why do you have a taser? Why do you have training? Because I've been to ranges, gun ranges, and I fire pistols next to the feds on the right and state police on the left, and I see the accuracy. Because I was trying to be the accurate. So I see the accuracy that you can hit a shoulder, you can hit a neck, you can hit a knee, you can hit a thigh. Why do you have to put a bullet in my head if I'm unarmed?
Right.
Why? Where is your taser?
Well, I was going to say, why don't they just use a taser?
Because I've seen you tase people who's still in the car. So then why can you not use a taser if you felt threatened? And why can't you say, I need backup at such and such, and sit your ass in the car and wait for some backup and just keep your eye on this situation when it's one person that you're pursuing? Why do you feel you have to be the superhero to put not one bullet,
Let
but
me read some of
bullets?
these. Westside Shorty says, justice should not be a racial issue. However, the question is, are the laws created for justice for African Americans? No, they never was created for us anyway.
And that's why
so white Americans can shoot up a movie theater and kill many, however, come out alive to go before a judge and jury, which is true. Mrs. C said we need to try all things that will help, and every little thing at this point we need to try. And I agree with Mrs. C. Race relations training has already begun in New York, starting with the officers. Mindsets must be changed. Mr. C said we cannot depend on the police policing themselves. There needs to be independent prosecutors for police-related killings.
And that is that's a good idea. You have to have some people who are going to be responsible. Well, whatever happened to internal affairs and all the people that, do they exist anymore?
I know, I haven't even heard
because
anything
internal
about
affairs
it.
went to bed and just got a check evidently because they don't come.
They call it IA. That's what they call it.
Well, IA, bring your ass out, IA, and come and do something for the people, because
this is getting
you're going to turn the people against you in the public.
And that
America, you don't
right.
want to turn the public against you. And
war, yeah.
you're going to create a war in the streets, and you're headed that way with this type of verdicts. We're not going to allow this anymore. This is ridiculous. And so it breaks my heart. It just bothers me really bad, this whole situation, because I watched the it's gut wrenching when you see the parents of these children. This is a 12-year-old little boy. Though.
I just
Like,
can't
like
even
you
get my
jumped out the
mind to
car.
understand that.
Okay, so you didn't see his little leg, or he didn't have a little arm, or nothing that you could have shot, or no taser, or you couldn't tackle him or do something. He didn't pull a gun on point towards
He
you.
didn't even need to be shot.
Well, yeah, he was 12 with a pellet gun.
Well, he had
Right.
a gun that they
You
thought
know,
was real in
they
their
thought it was real.
mind.
But the
So
thing
they
is
said.
that why not talk him down? He's been said. You got somebody.
All they
watching
gotta
him.
say is throw it on
Put
the
the
ground.
gun down, little man.
Yeah, whatever.
They
Put the
said-
gun down, little man. Don't point the gun. Little man ain't pointing no gun at that
Right,
point.
no.
Little man gonna drop the gun. Oh my God, help me please.
Right.
Okay, then you go get little man. He's alive, and
And
you
you'll
find
see
out it's a pellet
pellet
gun, and then you go do something with yourself and let this man breathe.
They said
But
they
you don't
tried
do
3
that.
times. That's what they said on the horn. They
Well,
said they
I
tried
saw
to- I
them
don't
jump out the
remember
car
all
and
that.
start shooting
Well, that was
Immediately.
supposedly they were back and supposedly said something. That's what I heard.
on the way while they were driving across the grass. Because I saw
No, this is
them.
before they got to that point.
Oh.
Where you talking about? They had supposedly said something. Blah blah. I'm like,
Yeah, around there in the damn lie area. That's the little area where you lie and then
Make
you
sure
show
the
up.
situation don't get out of
That's
control.
a bunch of crap.
Whatever.
I don't give a damn. At this point though, I don't care about the little excuses and this and that. We're not gonna take the cowardly approach. We're gonna man up and we're gonna stand strong and we're not going nowhere and we're not gonna change our mind.
Long as we keep it going.
Yeah, this not gonna. Yeah,
we
we gonna-
have to keep it going.
and I pray that happens because yes, we have fallen off. Ty. Oh, that's what. Okay, that's the West Side Show.
No, Ann just said, just watch Rachel Maddow giving statistics of policemen being convicted. They almost never get indicted. Oh, we got those statistics right
Oh,
here.
we sure do. And while Robin's getting that, that's exactly right. Miss Ann in the chat room, that's exactly right. They don't get anything. It's no justice is the problem. And so, you know, I was at a Toastmasters and I refused to salute. You know, I couldn't take the pledge of allegiance. And so everybody, of course, looked at me like I'm some, you know, idiot. And why couldn't you do it, Mr. Long? Well, because it says one nation under God with liberty and justice for all, and all those things are false. Until you can be true to what you say, I'm not giving a pledge anyway. My pledge to God. So I don't take no oath to none of that. But I'm not going to stand there and listen to that buffoonery, and none of it is true. This is not a nation under God. You try to remove God from this nation, and this is what got us.
Well, I'm going to give you the
Into this
statistics that we
program.
already have, but to finish hers, she said, but as Mr. C just stated, the cry is for every police shooting to be prosecuted by the state's attorney, taken from the local prosecutor. But the statistics that we have is roughly 27% of people killed by cops were unarmed. Where race was known, 86% were black or Hispanic.
Wow.
21 people were killed, 3 of them by off-duty cops in 2012, the highest during the 15-year span.
How many indictments? 3. I think it was 3 indictments.
I think it was 3.
And that is totally crazy. And of course, we don't know because I haven't found out if those indictments were served as guilty pleas in the end or not, which I very much so doubt, because we also watched Mr. Rodney King back in the day get clubbed like 285,000 times, and it was with cameras everywhere. And the whole world watched it, and we also watched 5 or 6 men get not acquitted or not indicted, I'm sorry, and they just paid a lawsuit and kept it moving. And of course we had the riots after that, but you know, we went right back quiet like you said.
Right.
And so, no, we can't do that, y'all. Be vigilant and don't be quiet and make more noise. And the young people, get involved. Get involved in your college campus. Get involved in your schools. You have to get involved because it could be you.
Please announce that Al Sharpton is calling for a nationwide protest this Saturday in Washington, D.C. People from Ferguson, Cleveland, California, and all over, busloads will be there. I didn't know that. You know
Yes,
that?
I did know that, and thank you for that. Yes, it's this Saturday. I don't have the times, you guys, but check your local listings. Your local, people are coming in from everywhere. No, this, like I said, this movement is just now starting to crank up.
starting to
This is
snowball.
not
That's
getting
right.
ready to go down. This is getting ready to go up. And also, R.I.P. to our ex-mayor, Mayor Berry. Before we go any further, his funeral was last
Washington, D.C.,
Saturday
right.
as well in Washington, D.C., and that's part of the reason why they moved this protest situation till this Saturday from last Saturday. I
Okay.
do know that as well, and that's based on the fact that Mayor Berry, the late Mayor Berry, passed away and was funeralized last Saturday. And TMZ, you know, forget y'all. that was real dirty. More racism to call him what you called him. I won't even give you the dignity.
Yeah,
to
we
say
might as
that
well
on
don't even
TV.
talk about
but,
it. But
you know, I hope you guys end up folding on TV because that was trash what y'all did. But
let me see.
let me know what y'all got to say in the chat room. Everybody get in the chat room, make your comments. I don't see a lot of people that spoke like they were coming in the chat room tonight. I would love to see you get in and let us know what you think.
I believe in the Rodney King. The U.S. stepped in, and some of the officers were sent to jail.
Yeah, if I'm not maybe.
Yeah, I think they got those guys. The ones they did get, I think they got them on civil rights charges, and I think that they're gonna wind up having to do the same thing here. Is go in on civil rights charges, not necessarily on murder charges.
So you mean go back with the two
the
that
feds can go in on different set of charges.
Oh,
First,
okay.
you know, his civil rights are denied. Blah blah blah.
For the
blah,
one in
blah.
Ferguson and for the
They
chokehold,
can go get all of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they can technically go get all of them. They can prove something. They can go get all of them.
Okay, so
And the other thing is that you can have a civil lawsuits.
yeah, well that's
for
definitely
wrongful death and all
Yeah,
the other kind of stuff.
yeah.
And
Well-
again, have their civil rights. So not only do you have the federal government that can come in, but you can also have the individuals get a lawyer and sue the individual cops also.
right, which is definitely going to happen. We almost
Something
guarantee
has
that.
to happen.
We know a civil lawsuit is coming.
So
but
the thing is that if nothing else, the cops are going to have to spend money on lawyers between the feds and the individual lawsuits.
So guess
Civil
what's
lawsuits,
happening now?
you know.
People are donating money to these idiots,
Right,
and
that's
they're
true.
paying for the lawyers, and they're paying for them to not be on the force, and they're giving them all these thousands and thousands of dollars of donations because we do have good versus evil. This is what I'm saying, and you have an evil bunch of people that's in America and everywhere else, and they're backing these murders and backing these situations because they have some racism with them, and they have their own ulterior motives.
And Ms. Moore said that's probably what's going to happen with Eric Gardner case. Feds are already set.
Yep.
Okay, now let's talk about the feds for a second because remember Trayvon Martin's shooting? We did the show in 2012. Trayvon Martin, the federal government, the feds stepped in then. And you guys have not done nothing to rectify that situation, and that was 2 years ago. So this is the buffoonery. Now the feds done stepped in all over the place, but don't just step in, Eric Holder, all of y'all, president, whoever's involved. We don't need you to just step in and say you're going to do something and then years go by and we forget. We need you to do something.
Right.
Like we need people to go to prison, you know, and like a citizen would for murder.
Right.
That's what we need. You guys need to go to jail. We can't have you just saying, oh, well, the feds are going to step in and then we wait for them.
Right.
No, when you have an oppressive situation, you can't count on your oppressor, the babysitter to the oppressor, to help you with the oppression. Sometimes we got to go around some of that situation. We got to start policing our own communities, and we got to make sure that we handle ourselves accordingly in our own communities so that we don't have to have police come in. And when police do come in, they're going to have to conduct themselves accordingly because we are policing our own community, and we're watching. We don't
have
need
to get that
cameras.
now.
We're just not going to have it. And so when you come in, you jump out the car and act a fool, then it's going to be a situation. You can't, we can't allow that anymore.
Right.
We've already allowed you to be the police. And it didn't work.
They don't have enough cameras anyway.
Well, the 30 million was going to
Yeah.
be nothing but a waste of money.
Yeah.
And I don't believe,
But
they
they
got
have
dash
enough
cams in a lot of these police cars. If they're going to come and cover it up in court, you can film,
Yeah, it don't matter.
you can film them from the time they left their house to the time they shot and went back and ate. And nothing's going to happen because there's no way in the world you can tell me that none of these gentlemen deserved an indictment, though. We're not talking about guilty or not guilty. We're saying bring your butt to court, though, and just say, you know, come to court and be liable for it. No,
Right.
nothing's happening. So I thank
Yeah, that's what
everybody.
Ann is saying.
Yeah, Ann just said he is right. The Fed U.S. attorney is taking all of those cases. I believe because these were policemen, the feds can treat them differently.
And that's what they're doing, but they're not treating them differently in a good way. They treating them differently like we're going to give them safe haven. And we're not going to embarrass us because all of us the boys in
We
blue.
all together.
And we all together, and it makes us look bad. Well, hell, we're looking bad. How you think you're looking as a country and you're allowing the police to murder innocent people with no weapons in the street while you're trying to take the weapons? How you think that makes you look, America? Because the world is watching you, and they see you. And not only America, we watch from Europe. I was just talking to some people from Newfoundland. And that's way up where, that's in an area outside of Canada where, yeah, they have another time zone, they so far. And these people didn't even understand the racial injustices that go on in America because they hadn't experienced racism ever. And so I introduced them to something new going on.
Right.
They went on and looked at it on the television and was appalled. They couldn't believe that America in 2014 had this going on. They didn't even know. Well, a lot of us didn't know. A lot of people just watch the news and just believe what the media gives you. Understand that the media is manipulative. They'll give you what they want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
the importance of having your own media.
And that's why
Which
we
is
are
why
own
we do what
media.
we do.
And this is why we do what we do, so we can do this. And we can bring you some of the things that you may not have heard of, like Dorian Johnson, that you need to Google and go on YouTube and listen to the clips.
Listen to his
and
testimony.
find out. Actually, we had a clip, but we run out of time. But Dorian Johnson's clip, actually, we can end the show with it. And we're going to tune off in a second, and we'll just go off with the Dorian Johnson video, because I think you at least need to see this gentleman's face so you can recognize him when you pull him up.
Yeah.
This young man was running with Mike Brown, hearing bullets whizzing and this and that, and he ran once Mike was shot with his hands up, and he went to get help and came back and watched his friend laying dead in the street, and the police let him lay there for 4 hours. Where do they do that in America? Let any dead victim lay in the street for 4 hours in his own blood and just, that's it. Who does this? That's just like a dog laying in the street. Like, that's worse than, you treat your animals in America more humane than you do some of us blacks in America. You will take your dog, and a dog could get hit by a car, and you'll slam on brakes and jump out and take him to a vet and don't even have to know who the dog belonged to and all this.
Yep.
You won't reach out and help a citizen, though, that's been gunned down in the street. So on that note, Robin, I hope you guys stay vigilant. I hope you guys do whatever you can do, whether it's just wear a t-shirt, bumper sticker, whatever you have to do. Voice your opinion. Be strong in it. Do not be swayed by what the right wing or whatever they call themselves are saying. Be truthful to yourself, because this could be your son or daughter
And let's keep
laying
it
in the
going.
street.
That's right.
And let's keep this thing going until we get some real change in America, and we will be one, because I do see a wave of unity, which I totally love. And again, shout out to my white sisters and brothers, my Asian sisters and brothers, my Latinos, and every other race that's participating, because I see you out there laying out there, taking a shot, saying Black Lives Matter, saying this could be our children, ranting and raving and taking a chance just like us. So we are proud to see that, and we salute you guys for that. And you can't say screw whites and screw this and that, because witness what they're doing. Pay attention, and let's not be so ignorant as to fall victim to racism, which has caused this problem from day one. So Spotlight of the City, you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys coming in the chat room and voicing your opinions. Shout out to Carla once again, and hope you get well soon up in Charlotte. Shout out to Lyric in the DMV and everybody in the DMV and all over. And we're going to end this with a clip from the young gentleman that was with Mike Brown, and this is his testimony. He has an attorney, and his name again is Dorian Johnson. And on that note, love hard, live